Today we're having a good old classic argument about whether God exists, with a video called How Do You Know God Exists? This should be enlightening and original. Hi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
The mouse posted a meme. Sorry.
In the name of God, the most loving, caring provider and protector for all creation.
Go on.
How do I know?
In the name of God, how do I know? Well, that's an interesting question. I guess my answer would be something like,
That's true.
oh, okay, that makes somewhat more sense. Why did you leave these gaps in here? They really mess up the flow of the video. I mean, it's one thing if you have short little gaps while you stop and think, but when they're several seconds long every time, it starts to sound like your sentences have ended when they actually haven't, and then it just gets all kinds of messed up. Editing's important. It's not just there to make it more professional, it's also there to make it more coherent.
How do you know that that's true?
That what? That God is the most loving and caring protector of all creation? I don't know that. I also don't think you know it. You can take that as me saying your belief lacks truth or justification, whichever one you want. Some might whine that I'm being unfair because I haven't heard your argument yet, but come on. We all know basically how this is gonna go.
There's a loving, caring provider and protector for all creation.
Okay. So, I find myself in a bit of a quandary here, because I find it really funny to just let your long dramatic stares into the camera play out, but at the same time that's going to get really annoying and boring pretty fast. I'm probably the only person in the entire world who thinks that actually makes the video more entertaining. So I feel like I should edit your gaps out for you since you were too lazy to do it yourself, but I feel like making this video would become a lot less fun for me if I did that. It's a hard decision, but, we'll play it by ear. Maybe I'll do a mix.
Well, it's obvious.
Sorry, I keep getting distracted. What's obvious? Right, that God is the whole thing. Yeah. Well, no, not really. Good opening salvo there, though.
The only reason you don't know that is because you and I and most people don't really pay attention.
Pay attention to what? Listen, I'm laser focused right now, okay? I'm paying attention right now. So if you think I haven't been paying attention for the past 13 years of going through theist arguments line by line, you got my attention, make it obvious to me. Or if you prefer, tell me about the thing that if I pay attention to it, that will make it obvious to me. And then I promise, whatever it is, next time I come across it, I'll make sure to give it the good old lots of attention treatment. It'll be exhausted from all the attention, okay?
And most people don't really pay attention. You know why? You're thinking about dumb shit all the time.
Damn, didn't expect you to stick the knife in like that. Here I was thinking we were having a nice conversation, And you got to come at me with that? What's that? I don't really think that was called for, I don't think about dumb shit. I think about smart shit.
Like, what should I wear? Where should I go? How do I pay my bills? How do I pay the rent?
Wait, that's the bar for dumb shit? Figuring out how to handle the basic necessities in your life? And if that's what falls into the category of dumb shit, I'd hate to see what you think about people who sit there scrolling through Netflix for 6 hours. So yeah, okay, I confess. Sometimes I think about what I should wear. It's always this. Every time. I don't know why I think about it. Maybe that is dumb. I also think about where I should go. I do that all the time when I get in my corner and God starts talking to me. Fortunately, I don't have any bills or rent because I just live in this field, apparently, or something. What is this place, anyway? I don't really understand the plotline anymore. Hey, so just a pro tip. If you want to drink a tea, it's usually a good idea to do that before you start rolling the camera, especially if you're not planning to edit your video. And I'm not just talking about how time-consuming it is, although there is that. I'm more talking about the loud-ass swallowing noises. Where is your mic and how sensitive is it that I can even hear that? Listen to this. I don't see your mic. Maybe I'm just looking with the wrong eye and it's red or something. But where is it? It's surreal how loud those noises are.
How do I get a job? How do I keep my job?
That's dumb too. So what would you prefer people do? Just not worry about it, live on the street? But then to even stay alive, they'd have to be thinking about where they're going to get their next meal. Like, is there a soup kitchen around here? But then I assume that would be dumb shit to think about too. You're kind of putting people in a difficult position here, I feel like. If they care what you think about it. Which nobody does, I'm sure, so I guess never mind.
How do I get the employer off my back? How do I do this? How do I fix this problem?
Yeah, you hear that, you dumbasses out there fixing problems? What are you, stupid?
And God's like, hello? Here I am.
No, he's not. If literally God was like, hello, here I am, I would know it. I wouldn't be able to sit there being distracted by my job or whatever. It's an all-powerful being who wants to get my attention. He will manage. I can barely concentrate on something over the sound of a dripping tap. And you're going to tell me I'm capable of tuning out God himself? Are you serious?
Where are you? You're not paying attention.
Okay, so what do you want me to pay attention to then? Is it enough if I just stop talking for 10 whole seconds and listen to the nothingness? Is that enough time and attention for poor little God's teeny tiny voice to come through? And if not that, then what do you want? Gross.
So, there are 2 ayat. I should do this, because if I do this, it looks like porn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, glad you got that one sorted out. Pro tip, though, if you want to show the number 2, you could just put one of your hands down and keep the other one showing 2. You don't have to hold up 2 hands each showing 1, although I guess technically there's not a problem with that. It's just unusual.
There are 2 ayat
Ah, there you go.
in Surah Al-Baqarah.
Gesundheit. Sorry. Aren't there more than 2 verses, though? Isn't that chapter the longest one?
There are 2 ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah in the Holy Quran that summarize the solution to all your problems.
Oh, wait a second. That's part of the same sentence. So putting it all together then, there are 2 ayat in Surat al-Baqarah. In the Holy Quran, I don't know why you said the other one's Arabic-like when you were just going to stick with good old-fashioned American Quran for this one.
Holy Quran.
But nevertheless, there are 2 ayat in Surat al-Baqarah in the Holy Quran that summarize the solution to all your problems. You see how it makes a lot more sense if it's glued together like that? And look, it's not like you have to say it all at once if you're having trouble getting it all in one take. Here, look.
There are 2 ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah in the Holy Quran that summarize the solution to all your problems.
But hold on a second. Why would I read these verses in this surah to try to find the solution to my problems? That would mean I'm thinking about my problems, which is dumb shit to think about apparently, so I shouldn't do this, right? Your standard, not mine. But alright, assuming I indulge in some dumb shit thinking for a little while, what's the solution?
The solution to all your problems. Which is acknowledging that you have a loving, caring provider and protector for all creation.
Nope, that's not going to help with the job problem, the bills problem, the rent problem, whatever the other problems were. That's going to do precisely nothing for any of them. Any other suggestions? I'm not going to say sorry. It's just a simple fact. It's not going to help with those things. You promised a solution to all my problems, and you didn't provide one.
How do you know?
Because most, if not all, people who believe in God still have some, if not all, of those problems, or at least some other one. I would have thought that would have been obvious.
Look at you.
Ugh.
Who made you?
You know, I'm not actually sure. I think I was just kind of always here. Again, I have trouble keeping up with the plot on this channel. Wow, that's intense. I can feel that I'm almost convinced. Give me another few rounds of that. I think that'll do it.
Duh.
Oh, you know your power level. Please, spare me the stare. I want to keep denying the truth in my unrighteousness. Oh, that's Christians. Never mind.
First of all, right now, you are looking at a human face.
Is it? I can't see it very well back there. Oh my god, you're right. I am looking at a human face. What am I doing that for?
You think that happened by mistake?
Yeah, I didn't really mean to do it. I apologize, I guess. Where should I look then? Okay.
You start off. God's always reminding us of this in the Quran.
Oh, now you did it Arabic style. Why didn't you do that before?
You started off as nothing.
What? When? What are we defining as me here? I feel like the definition has to be pretty broad if it includes nothing. Just stop staring at me and say what you actually mean.
Tiny little sperm. Tiny little ovum.
Okay, so not nothing then. That's quite different actually from nothing. Couldn't really be more different, in fact.
Got together. Formed a single cell, double cell.
Charitably, I'm going to assume that double cell means diploid cell, as in having 2 copies of each chromosome. So not literally a double cell, but a cell with twice as many chromosomes as either of them had on their own. That's my guess anyway. Oh good, approved with the nod.
And then it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and multiplied. And from that tiny little thing, you got eyes far more advanced than absolutely anything that human beings have ever made in terms of optics and cameras.
More advanced? In what sense? Do you mean the eye is just better at capturing images than any camera? Okay, again, in what sense? In terms of resolution, some very high-end cameras, like for observatories and stuff, have pretty high resolutions, up into the multi-gigapixel range. Now, of course, that's not exactly comparable to the human eye. The human eye doesn't really have a resolution in the same way that a camera has, but it has a retina with rod and cone cells that react to light, and those are somewhere up around the 100 million range. It's kind of hard to figure out how you would compare those directly to pixels in any meaningful way. The retina is not a camera sensor, but the particulars of that don't really matter. For all I care, take a number 10 times bigger. Call it a gigapixel. There are cameras that outdo that regardless. Color perception, well, of course, color is mainly a neurological phenomenon, so it doesn't really apply to the eye or the camera as such. But in terms of being able to react in a distinct way to different light wavelengths, there are cameras that can detect wavelengths that we can't see at all. Infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray, whatever. Seeing in extremely low light or extremely high light. Of course, there are cameras that can do better in either case. Resilience in like high energy situations, cameras can do better. I've filmed the sun directly with this camera I'm filming on. Try doing that with my eye, see how well that goes. Also, cameras tend not to have a big bundle of nerves in the way of seeing stuff. I would mention glasses that I'm sure somebody's going to comment on, but I'm talking more about the retina comparison, and the glasses are more about the lens. Anyway, that was a few ways of comparing cameras to eyes. I'm sure people can point out other ways, but the point isn't really to come up with a comprehensive list. It's not my list to come up with. You're the one that said it. I'm confused what you mean, so I hope you clarify. In what specific way does the human eye exceed literally every camera in performance? And let's be clear here, we're talking about the eye specifically. The perception of the data received from the eye by the brain is a different issue. So how is it more advanced?
We're talking far more advanced.
Yeah, I got that, but how?
How do I know that it's far more advanced?
No, that's not the question, but sure, let's go with that. How do you know it's much more advanced?
Duh.
Of course.
How do I prove it?
Sure, sounds like a good question. Let's do that one. Is the answer duh?
Later.
Oh, it's almost as good as duh.
Is that a good enough answer?
Sure, why not? I'm getting the impression it's about the best we're ever going to get from you on anything. Ever.
Sure.
Sure, great.
It's to do with like how fine the photoreceptors are, isn't it?
It's not my claim. Why are you asking me? Don't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do know, or yeah, you don't know?
But also that it's a living thing.
Uh-huh. Well, I gotta give it to you. The eye is more advanced than a camera at that, if you really want to use that word, despite it making very little sense in this case, considering the camera is not advancing towards being biological at all, nor is the eye. It's not advanced along the path towards biologicalness. It was biological from the start. It never had to advance in that direction at all. Advanced is just a really strange word to use for that kind of a comparison.
And it fixes itself. And it grows itself.
Okay, but that's also true of any random part of any random organism's body. It'd be kind of weird to say this earthworm is more advanced than anything we humans have ever made in terms of optics and cameras, and just expect people to interpret that as meaning the earthworm is biologically more complex than the non-biological camera. Like, when you say it that way, obviously people are going to start thinking, how is it optically better? In what way is an earthworm optically better than a camera? And if you then say, look, it can repair itself, it can grow itself, the reaction's going to be, oh, if that's what you meant, why'd you compare it to a camera? Which is what my reaction is right now about the eye.
Give me one thing that human beings have made that makes itself.
So what, self-replicating, self-repairing machines? There's some of that. Look up self-replicating machines. It's not too much of a thing yet. It's of course possible to do, and there are elements of it in self-repairing machines and factories that kind of take care of themselves to an extent and stuff like that. And if you go beyond the physical into the software realm, I'd say something analogous to that is much more useful there and much more common. But anyway, what assertion are you trying to lead up to here? Humans haven't built a lot of self-replicating machines, therefore God something? I'm not really seeing the connection to a God argument here. Maybe as you talk it'll become more clear.
As in like an iPhone that makes itself. You plant a seed and it grows an iPhone.
Well, I gotta admit you're right. Humans have not yet invented the iPhone seed. You got me there.
No?
No, I'm afraid you can't yet grow an iPhone from seed. Otherwise, they would probably be significantly cheaper.
Nothing like that?
Like it in the sense that you grow non-biological electronic devices from non-biological seeds? No. Why would we expect this? And why would this have any relevance to whether biology has a supernatural origin, or whether a god exists, or whatever you're trying to support here? Like, is the argument humans can't make self-replicating machines, question mark, question mark, question mark, therefore God? So if you were presented with a self-replicating machine, would you take that as evidence to the contrary? Well, no, of course you would instantly drop your old argument in the garbage and switch to that required intelligence, therefore God. You know you would. It gets so tedious after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then.
What about getting it into the right place?
Excuse me?
They're all cells.
What, iPhones? No.
Do you know how big a cell is?
It's about,
What's the average width of a cell?
well, on a scale from dang small to real big, I'd say it's probably down there a ways.
What is the average width of a cell?
Are you Googling this right now?
10 to 30 micrometers in diameter.
I don't know where you looked that up. For all I know, you might have written it down on your phone in advance, which would be cool. A little bit of prep. And it's in about the right range. So, yes, human cells are small, relative to humans anyway. And? Weirdly, the sneeze sounded less bad than the swallowing. What is with your mic? Just leave that in. It's cool. No problem.
Alhamdulillah.
Totally.
Thanks. Sorry, just talking to God.
You can't do that after the video? It's a few minutes. I think you'll make it.
Oh, you talk to God. You must be crazy.
No, that's pretty typical religious shit. Pretty used to it by now.
No, you know what's crazy? Not believing in God.
Got him.
How many cells make up the adult human eye?
A billion? Maybe? I don't know. I mean, just the rod and cone cells alone are like 100 million, right? If you put them together, at least. So if you include everything else, yeah, probably more than a billion, right? No, I think you have to be searching somewhere. I don't think you have this saved on your phone. Otherwise, it'd all be in one document, presumably. You wouldn't have to search around for it all over again every time you want to mention something.
2 million cells.
No, that is far too few. Search again.
Doesn't sound right.
I agree, but you know what? All you wanted was a big number, right? And it's a pretty big number. Just roll with it. What's the difference? Seriously, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You know what? If it makes you feel better, let's just call it a nice round trillion. Can we stop sitting around annoyed about it now?
There's 1.3 million ganglion cells.
Okay, needlessly specific. You realize that up to this point, for everything you've said, precision has no importance at all, right? All you want to do is say a real big number so people are impressed. Nobody in your actual core audience is going to give a damn what number you throw out. Just say something.
Maybe they haven't, like... Okay, let's take 2 million.
Yeah, just settle for that. That's fine.
2 million cells.
Yeah, see? Lean into the camera. Say big number. Everyone goes, ooh.
In one eye. Although I think that's incorrect.
Oh, well.
Because there's 1.3 million ganglion cells.
Just stop worrying about it. It doesn't matter. You said big number. Everyone went, ooh. We're done. Get to the God stuff.
But anyway, let's go with 2 million. Getting 2 million cells into the right order to differentiate into the right things in the right place. Getting the cornea to become a cornea. And your conjunctiva to become a conjunctiva. And the sclera to become a sclera. And the retina to become a retina. And not get them mixed up. I think that happened by mistake.
No. Mistake implies that somebody was trying to do something and screwed up.
2 million. God, I'm sure there's maths coming along to this, isn't there?
There's maths coming along to this? I have no idea what you're talking about, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You were talking to God, not to me. So I guess I shouldn't eavesdrop.
Imagine choreographing 2 million cells. And supposedly it's done blind.
No, nobody's choreographing anything. That implies somebody has to come up with a routine, and then these cells that are just doing whatever they're doing have to stop what they're doing and start learning the routine, because otherwise they would do something else. And they have to be, like, trained to do it right. No, it's not like that. It's not choreography. It's physical cause and effect.
Which means... well, God says he's not blind. Does it himself.
So what is the argument then? It's just you didn't study biology or organic chemistry and therefore God? Is it really that basic? Well, yeah, and here's where I have to confess something, which is that I knew this video was dumb. I knew there was nothing worth taking seriously whatsoever in this, or responding to in any level of detail. I chose this for exactly 3 reasons. Number 1, the lean-ins. Number 2, the long dramatic pauses. And number 3, the fact that at the start she says people are thinking about dumb shit all the time. That's really all there actually is that entertains me in this video. Sorry, sometimes I have to just have a little bit of fun. I wonder if it counts as thinking about dumb shit to sit there agonizing about how many ganglion cells there are in the human eye and whether the 2 million cells in the human eye is an accurate number. I feel like that's at least as dumb as thinking about your bills and rent.
يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء.
I'm not an Arabic speaker, but I have a feeling that if I were, I would still have trouble understanding that. That was the longest pause in the whole video. What's it supposed to mean? I don't know. Is it supposed to mean anything? Or are those gears just kind of rusty in there?
That's just your eye. Any idea how fascinating your eye is?
Yes, I know precisely exactly how fascinating my eye is. It's fascinating to precisely the degree that it fascinates me. No more and no less.
I should spend a good time talking about eyes, shouldn't I?
No, I think it'd be a better idea if you tried something else now.
Considering I'm an optometrist?
What are you, thinking about your job? Stop thinking dumb shit.
Yeah, that's what I should do. Talk about eyes.
No, you shouldn't do that just because you're an optometrist. You should do it if it has some sort of relevance to an actual argument, which this doesn't seem to, at least none of the details.
Because if you just spend a good enough time every day thinking about the one who made you, he would fix all of your problems.
Oh, I see. So a Muslim who's about to get evicted from his apartment just has to do more Musliming, and that'll pay the rent? Tell you what, I'm not going to be the guinea pig on this. This doesn't sound like a plan that's likely to actually work. I think I'll just observe the results of other people trying this for a while and see how that goes. And in the meantime, I'll keep on paying my bills and trying to keep my job. I know, what a dumbass.
Because the point of your eyes is to see his creation. To look at yourself in the mirror.
Oh, well, I can do that. I like doing that. Look at me. If you look like me, all you people would love looking in the mirror too.
And pause for a second. And go like, who made me?
So is it mandatory that I ask stupid loaded questions, or can I just look at myself?
I'm beautiful.
Okay, that I can do. That I can say to the mirror.
You shouldn't laugh. It's true.
I know it's true. You don't have this beautiful face without knowing what it is. I try to be modest, but come on.
You're beautiful too.
Too?
You know, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that God made man in his image. What does that mean, God?
That God has 1.3 million ganglion cells?
It means he loves the way that you look so much that he chose this image, the human face.
Well, he loves the way that he looks so much that he made your face look like his face, which actually doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, God's not supposed to have a physical appearance, is he? I said the 1.3 million ganglion cells thing is an obvious joke, riffing on the fact that God would not have ganglion cells and taking the idea of you being made in God's image too literally. But no, that seems to be how you actually mean it. Your theology seems interesting. So are we still doing an argument for God thing here, or are we just working on our self-esteem now?
We don't spend enough time thinking about God.
Well, I spend a lot of time thinking about God, but probably not the way that you want. So, okay, maybe, possibly, I don't spend enough time on that. You, however, I think fill the quota pretty easily, from the sounds of it. I think you might be able to free up some space in your schedule for a couple of different hobbies, and I think that might be worth a try.
I think we can do it all ourselves.
Do what? Keep our jobs, pay our bills, and pay our rent? I've always managed that fine, and I've never thought about God the way that you're implying I should. What does this have to do with how beautiful my face is?
We don't even know how to breathe by ourselves.
What? You didn't have to learn that, did you? If so, how old were you when you did?
There's so much knowledge out there. It so clearly shows evidence that God exists.
Yeah, I don't care about that anymore. I'm more interested in this breathing thing now. What do you mean you don't know how to breathe?
And the Western world has discovered all of it.
The Western world has discovered all of the evidence for God? Go Team West? What is that supposed to mean? This video is remarkably weird.
And they haven't taught us. That's wrong.
Wait, so you want the Western world to come and teach you, with your American accent, all the knowledge about, I assume, the natural world, that counts as evidence for God that your people, whoever you think those are, have, what, never heard of? What are you, an uncontacted tribe? Do you live on North Sentinel Island, and you're just waiting on pins and needles for the Americans to roll in and spread democracy, or, God evidence knowledge? What is going on? This is like a fever dream.
They said random mutations and natural selection did this. Except I've proven that that's not the case.
Oh wow, you've overturned evolution single-handedly. You know, it's amazing how many people have apparently done that to zero effect on evolution making sense and explaining the evidence. I would say I would come back and look at one of your anti-evolution videos to see what your destruction of evolution looks like, but I'm not sure I want to do any more of this unless this video does really well. Or maybe unless she responds back or something, because I bet that'd be funny. As it is, though, those long dramatic pauses staring into the camera have kind of stopped being funny and started being eerie, and I don't really want to experience it anymore. I'll give you this, audience, as a little snippet, though, of one of the ones I was looking at, and you can tell me if it's worth responding to.
Further evidence that evolution is fucking stupid. I'm trying to be polite, because I think my mom actually watches my videos. She told me not to cuss. And I'm like, Mama, but they're fucking Darwinists. I need to cuss at the fucking Darwinists.
Maybe I should do that thing they do, you know. Get this video over 5,000 likes and I'll respond to that. Yeah, you know what? Actually, let's do that. That's my price for having to be creepily stared at for another video. I think that's very fair.
But people don't listen.
That's true, they probably don't. They have no particular reason to. There's nothing here that would make me think you have any special insights. But if they did listen, what makes you think they'd agree?
How do I get them to listen, God?
I mean, people are listening right now. I guess if you feel like taking something as evidence for your prayers working, you could take that. How's that work for you?
Keep saying it. Until the right people listen.
Eh? Eh?
And they will.
They have.
And then they'll teach God at universities.
Oh, those kind of right people. Don't get carried away now.
Then we won't have doubts anymore.
Because they're indoctrinating the university students? No, I think people would still have doubts, but I guess it probably wouldn't hurt your cause.
Once you don't have doubts anymore, nothing in the world scares you. So you have God on your side.
Another one on the pile of things that seem implausible. Muslims are scared of literally nothing. Maybe I'm just a doubter, maybe I haven't been indoctrinated enough, but that sounds incredibly untrue.
And he owns the heavens and the earth.
I have no idea what that's supposed to have to do with anything. What was that, a timer to tell you the video's long enough?
Right? If you'd excuse me.
Okay, that last part there, I don't know what that was about. Based on the reaction, I'm guessing that was a text or something, which was not well received. I'm not going to read anything into that, but that video ended on a note of annoyance or exasperation or I don't know. That video was very uncomfortable. The dramatic pauses are a lot less interesting and a lot more creepy, and you have to watch them for hours in a row on repeat. Well, okay, anyway, that was what it was. Thank you for enduring that with me. If you would, before you go, please do give the video a like and click subscribe if you haven't. And if you like the channel, maybe consider supporting. A couple of bucks per video or per month is enormously helpful, and huge thanks to all of my supporters who've already made that choice. Join the Discord, and I will see you next time.